Hi, everyone. And this is Stephanie with Steph Sells Homes podcast, aka I think I'm going to change it pretty soon to Steph Sells ADUs because I just feel
Yeah.
like it flows better. I'm here with my friend Darcy Barajas, and this is episode 51. This is the first episode of 2024. I'm super excited to have her on. I think this year I'm really going to focus a lot on having different ADU experts and highlight their path and their journey. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Darcy and have her share a little bit about herself.
Hey guys, so I'm Darcy Barajas, based out of Vegas. I do obviously real estate as well, but I do specialize on the ADU development side. I'm truly just pioneering the Las Vegas market into the ADU. So, truly learning a lot from Steph, but overall excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to give people context, I always like to share a backstory, right, on how we met. So, for those of you who just started listening to the podcast or just started following me, I've created over 20 ADU meetups throughout SoCal. And in one of those meetups, Darcy came through. I think it was the one in Los Alamitos, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So I met her there. She was very quiet, but she sat up front and then she left. I remember her leaving, but then she followed through on Instagram, right? You followed
Yeah,
through and sent me a
yeah.
message and you're like, "Hey, I see this being a thing in Nevada and I want to learn more about it." And she was just like really passionate about it. So we got on a call and now fast forward to now, this is over a year ago.
Yeah.
She's basically your ADU specialist out in Nevada. And we'll get into what Nevada has rolled out with as far as legislations and ADUs go later down the podcast. But that's technically how we met. And I thought that was a really dope story. Plus, we share a lot of things in common. Like, we're both mothers, we're both Latinas, we're both trying to make it in this real estate game,
Yeah.
which is very male dominant, and it's a struggle. Like, we were just talking offline, being a mom and like having to coordinate all these things with the kids and our
Oh, yeah.
schedule and time blocking. It's like so much. So that we hit it off right off the back, and I'm super proud of everything that you've done so far.
Oh
So
no, thank you, thank you. You're right, though. I think that the story. I remember that meeting that we that I went to because I was there in LA for just that day, and I
mhm.
went in there and I'm like, I don't even know what this is all about, but let me check it out. It sounds interesting. Let me check it out. And you were, I think that your format, the ease of knowing exactly kind of what you're talking about, that made it more relatable to me, just not really knowing much about the ADU world at all. So that meeting was funny because I did leave right away because I was like, I was so shy. I'm like, I'm not gonna go up there.
Yeah.
But it was great, and I love the fact that I was able to connect with you because I've followed you throughout the course of this past year, and I've truly learned a lot about everything that you're doing in the ADU world, but also just learning the back end. You don't only provide the front end of just what is an ADU, but you have like these you have like relationships with contractors and
Mhm.
appraisers that I've realized going through the journey myself here in Vegas is so important to have. So that's for sure one thing that I do appreciate from that meeting is that I learned a lot more of that back end.
And I remember I was a little bit nervous because the setting in that office, in Brian's office, was a little bit like everybody was like right here. I felt like
Yeah.
everyone was in front of my face, and I just
Yeah.
remember sweating, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
You
But
did good.
yeah, I mean, I do pretty well at just like showing the opposite, the complete opposite. But yeah, I mean, we hit it off, and look at you now, like you've done so much. But I would say that what's helped me and empowered me has been the network, and that has came from the meetups.
Oh
So
yeah,
I know that eventually we'll be doing some meetups in Nevada because
I'm
I
so
think that's like
excited.
the easiest way to have people come to you, vet
Yeah,
them out, and then figure out like who's the hyper local people, right? Like, even out here, we still struggle with appraisers who can comp out the ADUs properly. There's a handful of them, but there isn't a whole bunch. So, it's just starting off with one and building that relationship and then kind of working together as a team. So you're sort of assembling a team of ADU experts in your corner that's
yeah.
really going to be like the full package in order for you to help, people. But where do you work with you have like a specific niche within a niche too out there, right? Because you're a realtor, but you don't work for like a specific brokerage. It's more like a builder slash
Well,
broker, or what is it?
no. So we do have like I work with like so I'm part of Realty Now, which is based out of California as well. So we actually have an
Mm.
office here, and we branched off to Nevada. Actually, just recently we launched our office here. I was with a traditional broker in the past, and we are a truly a true brokerage as well.
Brokerage. Okay.
I partnered up and with one of my clients that has been my long-term client and is a contractor. He's a local builder here. And in the past, what we used to do, well, not in the past, we still do it now. We would buy scattered vacant lots and build on. So we would build, either whether it was custom homes or whether it was a spec home, which we could see a better return on spec homes. And then sell them out. So we would buy land, build, and then sell. But that was really a client that I have, and really overall, my team focuses on the residential side. So we do have the traditional residential real estate side to it. Myself, I've really stepped into very similar to what you're doing, where I have a passion for the ADU world. It is not big, but I just see it. I see our market and our real estate environment changing overall, that I think that's going to be a part. I mean, that is becoming a part of real estate that we should know as realtors. And so, with this partnership that I had with Picasso Homes is really a local builder, and we've done multifamily to single family residences. But we opened up a division specializing only on ADUs/casitas, which here a lot of people just call them casitas or guest homes, right? And so I really geared that up. And what I'm trying to do is learn more about the ADU as it evolves in the Las Vegas market and Nevada market overall, and really be able to supply our clients and our people here with a direct contact. So like that, it won't feel so overwhelming when you're looking at contractors. So we've made the process pretty easy here, because it's all in one: contractor, realtor, appraiser, which I'm still looking for a good one here, because it's a new thing here, right? So it is a little hard to get that, but we already have partnered up with financing and all of that. So it's going very well for our first almost year. We're going to hit our first year in May, so our 1 year. So that's really what my involvement is with on the real estate and the ADU side, I guess, to answer your question. I don't know if
it's crazy. No, yeah, it's crazy because with me, I think I got into ADUs from working with so many investors wanting to build in their backyard or wanting to maximize highest and best use based on the lot. So it's similar with you, right? Like working with the builder, I think you know more than what most ADU experts would know, because working on spec homes, right? And buying the land, building on it, like you really are doing everything from ground up. And so when you and I talked, I remember having that conversation, and I'm like, girl, you know more than the average person already. Why are you questioning this?
It's one thing that I try to, be open-minded, right? Because I don't know everything. And so sometimes you want to ask the stupid questions. You want to be that one in the room, so like that, that you're not, that you are educating the consumer, right? The biggest thing with, I think, to my advantage is because we have worked so much with the building side. On this end, the smart investor, I want to say, or even someone that's savvy, knows that if you're building on a single family lot, for example, and you can build more on to make a better return, you don't have to go out and go buy a bunch of other properties. Like, you have something that's going to work for you right now, and your expense is going to be so much less. Your investment is going to be so much less than when you're going out. So I think that that's like a big movement that we're seeing right now in Vegas, is that we're having like these smaller investors come in and saying, hey, I have these properties that I'm renting out right now, but I have it's a big lot, and what can I do? How much more can I use this land and build on? And if you're really thinking about it, especially with Picasa Homes, what we're doing is that we're trying to keep them as affordable as possible to make sense of those investments. So, I think that I'm losing my train of thought in regards to like what we were initially talking about.
No, but that's a good. I mean, that in itself is a huge value proposition. I think that's a great way to look at it. Because I didn't even think of it that way, right? If you're a builder or an investor who's buying multiple lands, and your goal was to buy, let's say, 5 lots, right, and maximize highest and best use. Now, maybe with implementing the ADU strategy, you only have to buy 2 lots and build, X amount or twice as much as you would have. So, or you can buy all 5, but now you're really scaling it. So,
I guess like educating like the person that you can scale your property as much as you can, so long as obviously the regulations and you're meeting all that.
And what are some of those? Because all I know is that legislation passed 2024, effective, this year.
Yeah.
But what are the
this month, literally? Yeah.
Yeah, like what are some of the highlights of the legislation? Like out here, right? You can build up to 1,200. That's your state law. And then you have your local municipalities that have other restrictions, but they can't restrict you from not building. So like, what does it look like out there?
We're in preliminary, right? So it's very preliminary with coming into effect. We still have to adopt a lot of it, but there are going to be counties and cities that are going to be adopting different areas and this is the thing, like they're calling them like the tiny homes, like zoning areas. I really want to move away from that term tiny homes, because I feel that people think that they're going to be homes on wheels. And
facts. Oh my God.
Like you don't understand, the struggle is real when it comes down to
it. We still struggle with that out here. Like there's they call it the Tiny Home Fest in San Diego. Yeah. And it's all a whole bunch of ADUs. Yes, they have some on wheels, but like that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, you don't understand. Like sometimes, like it's so funny because when I started this project, side note, when I started this project, I was telling my friend, oh my gosh, people are gonna think that I'm going from like real estate. I used to sell luxury high rises, and like now she's selling homes on wheels, like these tiny homes on wheels.
Oh my God!
I am not doing that. Like these homes are fully built, like they're fully permitted, like they're adding value to real estate. I am not selling tiny homes. Like Darcy's not gonna show up with a little tiny home behind her
on wheels. Oh man!
But what we are seeing is that we are like it's a conversation, right? Like there's a lot of conversation going on in regards to really dedicating zone like areas and pockets that have the density needed for affordable housing. So we are going to be seeing that a lot. And one thing that we did see with a big company in Las Vegas, it's a management company, is that they did push for smaller units to be built, pretty much casita built or like ADU built on their multifamily parcel already. And they were going to be dedicating those to, age restricted tenants pretty much. So with that move goes along with people are starting to think outside of the box as to, could we build a community, a smaller community of, casitas or tiny homes or ADUs to be built more as a multifamily, multifamily environment, but still have like that privacy that that a casita would give you. Now, I know that you guys in California, you guys are super hyper about, I say this with all respect, but I always say this, like, if you have a shoebox in California, you have an ADU. Like, yeah. I always say that because you have something that's going to be buildable, you can build on. Here, we're not seeing much of a conversions. Like, we're not doing a lot of garage conversions. We're not seeing that interest just yet.
And I figured, because I think in most states where you have bigger lot sizes or just bigger homes, it's like, not as dense as LA or, your big markets, then I wouldn't assume that you'd see so many garage conversions. And in Cali or in SoCal, specifically like LA, San Diego and San Francisco, you're seeing a whole bunch of garage conversions because there's no room to build. So you got to get creative with what you have. But I could see how out there it'd be more of like ground up construction projects, right?
So yeah, and so for example, with Picasa, we launched in technically we did our soft opening in May, but we started really pulling for permits in July or so. So we're starting to really see all of those permits come in, and we're breaking ground to a lot of them. A couple of them are going to be finishing up in the next couple of weeks. So you're going to start seeing them pop up more than just like Darcy posting about, drywall, or whatever. But the one thing that we're seeing is on our clientele side and like conversations that I'm having, it's going to be on primary homes or multifamily like zonings or estates like RE like zoning, which is like the larger lot sizes. That's because I think that's the beginning of what if you really, I know that you guys have a lot of builders over there too, but we have a ton of new builds here. We're seeing a lot of big builders build next gen homes, which are attached casitas. They're just, because new builders are only, their lot sizes are so much smaller that their only option will be to have attached casitas. So they're calling them the next gens. When we see the market starting to really have a category or a focus on those type of build outs, these companies do huge market studies on what is coming about in that market. And so I think a lot of the savvy homeowners are saying, hey, I'm going to start building on my land, and I have land, so we're seeing a lot of detached. Now, on the rental side, when I have pulled rental comps for those are ranging for about 17 to 1900. That's the majority of a big portion of a lot of mortgage payments for the front house. So I think that we're starting to really see a lot of the detached with that, with it. Now the conversions and the, the stacked casitas, we're not seeing not much of that just yet. I know with California, did you see that? I know that now that there's new laws there, you're seeing a lot of the multifamily build outs, but initially what did you see? The conversions, or did you see the detached first?
I'd say it started off with conversions because it's the lowest barrier of entry and it's like the cheapest cost. Sometimes, many times they assume that it's the cheapest cost, but sometimes you have to tear the whole thing down because if the condition of it is pretty much gone, like you're basically having to do a ground up plus demo, Yeah. So you start off with I would say conversions. Now you're starting to see a lot more ground up in residential. And when 2020 passed that legislation about allowing for a junior ADU and an ADU, I see that play a lot from investors. So, you could buy a single family home and bump out or like add a conversion to one of the bedrooms and turn that into a junior ADU. Okay. And then convert the garage. Now you have 3 units. You have 3 doors off of 1 SFR. So that's like a big play there. With multifamily, it's a whole different ballgame because here we have, I don't know if out there you guys have an ordinance for it, but we have the 25% density rule. So if you have a 100-unit building, you can build 20 to 25 ADUs. I've seen people build 10 on a 40-unit, and depending on zoning, you can even build more, right? Like places like San Diego, if it's in a transit type of zoning with another overlayer of another type of zoning, you can build
you guys have
so
a
many.
good amount. Yeah, like you do have more of a direction in that. I feel that.
So I'd say both residential and multifamily have really done it at scale. And if you add the affordable housing component to it, now you can build even more, right? As long as a certain amount of units are designated for affordable housing. So yeah, it's nuts out here. It doesn't compare, but I think eventually it's going to get to that point nationwide. So you're kind of like in the early stages of what I remember back in 2017, right? 2017, nobody knew what the hell was going on. There was like 3,000 applications with the city. Now, I can't even keep count, but I know it's at least over 80,000 in the last 4 or 5 years.
It was like 80,000 like permits being pooled. I think now the permit in the standpoint for you guys, it's still pretty long that I understand. Like, I mean, you could.
Unless you're working with specific cities that like I was talking to a builder yesterday, he wants to do a meetup out in the Valley, and I'm learning things every day. He was like, hey, I don't do a lot of business in the Valley, Hollywood and kind of like that area, Simi Valley and all that. And he's like, I can get a permit in 3 weeks or a month. I was like, damn, that's like the fastest I've heard. So
Yeah.
now if I'm thinking as an investor, I'm like, okay, or, some, maybe even a flipper, right?
Mhm.
Or an investor that's
Like,
that
what's your
type,
whole time?
that, that cuts your time and costs and
Yeah.
like more than half. But if you are a flipper trying to do a ADU and like, in incorporated area of LA, good luck. Like that's just going to take you 6 months to get it approved.
Yeah.
Places like Long Beach, they're pro housing. So you also have to look at like what cities are pro housing. If they're pro housing, they probably have a streamlined process with the city, and they may even have a goal of how many ADUs they want to build. Like Long Beach has said how many ADUs they want to build for the year, but then there's others that take forever. Like Compton is one that I wouldn't even touch because it'd probably take you more than a year to get permits approved. Not to mention then, another 6 to 8 months for construction. So a typical garage conversion right now is taking you about 8 to 12 months. If it's a new ground up, 12 to 14 months. And that's just general. Yeah.
So any of the pre-built, spec'd out, permitted, all of that, it's not.
If you do any of like the SIPs, those structural insulated panels or prefab, all of that, you still have to go through the permit process. So yeah, you may cut time in half from the construction side of things.
No.
But you still got to deal with the permit.
Because you do have like pre-built, like permitted already, like permit ready.
Oh, you're talking about the pre-approved plans with the city.
Right.
Yes. So the trick with those is that they don't always apply to, let's say, a garage conversion. If most of them are being garage conversions, the pre-approved plans that the city is offering may not meet that layout, right, of the garage conversion. If it's a ground up, then most likely, you do a feasibility and you probably can use one of the pre-approved plans that the city has to offer. But if it's a garage conversion, most of the time those pre-approved plans aren't like matching. They're very difficult. What they did pass this year, I forgot the name of the legislation. I think it's AB 1137 or something like that. I posted it on my Instagram. That one talks about how now any plans that have been approved with the city through some previous builder, like let's say ADU West Coast, who I met you with at the event, any ADU West Coast plans that he's had approved in the past, he'll be able to reuse those with other clients, and that cuts time with the city and having to send corrections back and forth. And so that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest, for example, for going into Vegas side, with us, I feel that because we're doing a lot of ground up, the models that we currently have, we're starting to see that the ones that are coming in, our permit time is about 3 months.
Yeah, that's really good.
Bad. It's not bad. Our fastest one, we're going to be finished with a 2-bedroom within 6 months. We're not even going to hit 6 months, and that's including permits and construction.
Wow.
So it's nice for us now, I think, to step into it, because there's not a lot of delay in that process. The only process, obviously, we get our custom build outs, and our custom build outs are different, but the ones that we've pulled out that have been our spec plans, those have been coming in.
That's really good, because that cuts quickly your time in half.
Well, yeah, if you really think about it, anyone that's looking to sell their home right now, or a flipper that wants to maximize the square footage, now you toss one of these in the back. You're gaining a good 20 to 30% more on that house in that ADU that can be built while you're remodeling the front house. So we're starting to see a lot of these creative flows in the conversations that we're having here in Vegas, because we're not sitting on permits for a year. The only city that I can say it takes a little bit longer is Henderson. They need like fire sprinklers now and all of that. So that is a delay. It's slightly cost. It's a little bit more for that, but really, I would say compared to, our neighboring states, our turnaround time is really good, especially if, for investors that are looking to release that, that investment fairly quickly.
I think that's pretty dope to know, because as an investor, let's say there's an influx of people, I think, that will be moving or traveling or commuting from LA and Riverside to Nevada now
Oh
with the
yeah.
Bright Line being
Yeah,
built.
and we already have that now without it. Could you imagine? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's a 40. I mean, I go to LA. I've gone to LA for the day to like meet with like it's a quick 45 an hour flight.
Right.
So even with that, now I think it's going to be even more than. I mean, for sure. Go
Yeah, the
ahead.
demand's going to be there. So I
Yeah.
think you're definitely, if you're smart about it, you want to park your money out there, then they can consult with you and you kind of look at highest and best use, and you cut the time,
Yeah.
in half. That's like, I didn't even know it was taking that little of time, with the turnaround time. And
Yeah.
maybe hopefully it stays that way, but I think as there's always more demand, I think
Oh,
here in
sure.
California it was a combination of the high demand. You go from 3,000 applications in 2015 or 2017 to over 20,000, right? That's like an influx of applications coming in that the city couldn't support, while at the same time it was COVID. So I think a lot of people have horror stories where it took them over a year to get plans approved. Now I think it's getting a little bit better, but realistically, 5 months, 6 months, on a good day, 3 months. And that's like, if maybe you've done it in the past several times and you've worked with the city. I could see a junior ADU get approval over the counter if you know what you're doing and you know who you're working with. Like, I
And
know
I
my
think
friend
that that's the
Andrew has
biggest
done that.
important, and
Hmm.
that I think that is the biggest key to become like to being successful with your ADU build out is working with the right people that know what they're doing and know who to contact and how to submit your permits and your plans. I've noticed that makes a huge difference in the experience for the person building the ADU and for the return, especially if you're an investor, because then that can cost you money if you're sitting on something that's not producing anything. You know?
Exactly. I always tell my clients you want to work with a design build firm, meaning somebody who has architects in-house and,
Yep. Yeah.
construction in-house. If you do decide to work with your own architect and your own builder, you better make sure they're all on the same page, including the lender, including, I talked about that when we met too. It's like, if you're speaking in real estate terms, who's part of your team? Your title rep, your lender, your home inspector. You got like this whole team of people that help you during the transaction.
Yeah.
It's no different when you're building out this project. You need a good architect that knows how to budget the construction, right? Because you get a lot of people who go get plans for $2,000, but that architect did a shitty ass job and they didn't even factor in your budget.
You'd
Now
be
you're
amazed
over
of how
budget.
many people come in with their plans and we're like, oh,
Uh,
like,
we don't.
I'm
You
so
don't even want
sorry
to
you
see
spent,
it.
yeah, like I'm so sorry you spent $5,000 on that plan. Like it is horrible. I've seen it so many times when I have,
So many times, yeah.
yeah, consultations with our clients, and that's like it's a big, unfortunate
But
mistake.
they think they're saving money. They're like, "Oh, let me spend 5,000 over here, and then once it's done and approved, now I go to a builder." Right? It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. So make sure you guys, if you take anything out of this episode, is
Oh my
like,
gosh,
go
yes.
with the right team. Go with somebody who is experienced, who's done it several times. Like, go look at their work, and then
Yeah.
just work with people that you know, like, and trust. At the end of the day, I
Yeah.
think
No,
that's
for
the
sure.
biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. I have definitely seen that, and it's unfortunate that people um, just not informed that way, and it costs a lot of money. So the nice thing is having a team for sure. I think that's
And I
that.
know one way that you've been kind of putting yourself out there and showcasing is by doing these meetups with the showroom, which we were talking
Yeah.
about. You said you've had really good turnouts. What does that look like? Like, are you inviting homeowners, investors,
So
past
yeah,
clients, anybody?
I'm happy to say that we're the only ones that have an actual showroom of a casita slash ADU build out, and so you can come out into our showroom
Nice.
to see our 1 and our 2 bedrooms, and that's going to be our spec model. And our goal for that company has always been to be all in one inclusive. So we go
Mm-hmm.
from
A through Z.
doing like a full like a 15-minute, 20-minute call before we even invite you over to the showroom to look at the casita. And then we can do a feasibility, evaluation on your property, just to make sure, hey, can we build this casita in your home? So we go from our showroom to our, evaluating the property to going to permits and drawings. We do all of it in-house. everything is in-house. So really, I've had clients that just sign, okay, their site plan, we're good. And really, that's all they're doing. They don't have to go out and figure out, what they're going to do for designs or plans or even finishes. Our showroom has a design center. So we have everything from, tile selection to anything.
It's all in-house,
It's
basically.
all in-house, which is nice, and it's seamless. And so far we've had really good experiences with our clients and feedback from them. Because I think if you're not dealing with construction in a daily basis, it could be very overwhelming for people. So yes, our showroom is open to the public. It's by appointment right now, but we also do educational meetings for our brokers and our agents, anyone in the industry. So we have that. So feel free to follow me, guys. I usually post everything. I'm getting better at posting things about the ADUs.
Yes.
And our Instagram account is it's Picasa Homes, and it's PICASA Homes. And you'll see kind of when we have open house events where you can just walk in anytime it's open. But those meetings are becoming very popular. And Steph, you have to come out and do one with me because you are a wealth of information. And I think that having someone that has gone through the journey with California and seen it go from nothing to like this extreme beast, I think that if you come out and share your story with our agents, especially people in our industry, I think it'll be a great way to
No, let's do it. I'm telling you, I was looking at the calendar earlier before we jumped on the call, and I'm like, maybe June, mid-June, we could probably do something and hang out with the kids and make it very family oriented and, really inform people. And I think we're on the same path out here. I'm speaking at the ADU Academy next Friday, which is in front of like over 100 realtors,
so
and
excited
real estate people,
I'm so excited
and the
for
ADU tour.
Yeah.
We can probably even take the ADU tour out to Vegas at some point when we have enough, potential projects that we can showcase. But yeah, I'm all in. I'd love to educate other people in our industry and like collaborate the way we collaborated, right? Because I think people who are really thinking long term and are passionate about it, we're not seeing this as competition. Like I want to see more Darcys and Stephs in the world, and
for sure
have more ADU experts that really educate and are passionate about educating our clients at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree that by learning from each other, I think especially our responsibility too is also to learn what other markets are doing, because it might save your market. It might, you might become a part of that market that's important, where you would want to learn and mirror or avoid mirror what another market is doing that's working, or avoid certain mistakes like that. You know what to do and you know what to look for. So I'm super excited for the ADU Academy. I am super excited.
Yes, I'm gonna see you there next Friday. So we'll definitely catch up on other stuff. But I think I learned a lot, and I wanted people to get like an insight of the trends and what's happening in Vegas when it comes to ADUs. And now they know that they can connect with you and reach out to you for any real estate needs. Yes. Like she said, she's basically an A through Z person who can help you from start to finish. And then not only that, you're a deal analyzer. You're like really helping them look at the potential property and see what's highest and best use. And so with that, I'll kind of just leave it there. And you already put your Instagram handle, right? So
I did.
Yeah. And if you have anything coming up, feel free to share. But we'll be definitely collaborating on a meetup towards the end or the middle of the year, like I said, sometime in June. I'm putting it out there.
And hopefully we'll have like a ton of them built,
well, if you guys are getting permits approved in 3 months, shit, you guys are gonna have at least a couple 10 ready to go.
So for sure, I'm excited for it. Thank you so much for having me on. Always our conversations can go on forever and ever and ever. But I really did appreciate hopping on with you. Always learn from you, and I look forward to it.
Me too. Well, I'll see Darcy next week, and I'll see you guys at the end of the month. I have another ADU expert who's going to be talking about the ADU pilot program. So he's a real estate developer. / broker now. And I got to introduce you to him too, because then you guys can connect
Nice.
and network.
Out of California?
Yep.
Oh,
He's out
awesome.
here. I've had him as a speaker at my events in the past. You've probably seen him on social media, but yeah, I'm excited to have him on, and really grateful that you came on for the first one of 2024. I'm really excited, and we'll see you guys on social media.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys. Thank you
guys.
so much. All right. Bye.